How do we handle AI as Christians? Today we are talking about that topic here on The Inside Story. I'm going to be joined by Nicholas Skytland from Glue. Now he's going to break down everything we need to know about AI and how it pertains to humanity. But we want to also let you know there's an incredible event coming up on October 7th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time at Colorado Christian University. It's called AI for Humanity, Navigating Ethics and Morality for a Flourishing Future. You can find out more about this event at event.christianpost.com, but it is going to be a powerful one, and that is going to be our topic here on the show. With no further ado, let's welcome Nick. Nick, I appreciate you joining me here at the Christian Post. There is an event coming up on October 7th at Colorado Christian University. It's AI for Humanity, Navigating Ethics and Morality for a Flourishing Future. Let's start with this event, and we're going to get into some of the issues you'll be talking about there, a little bit of a preview, but what is the purpose of this event?
The purpose is to gather leaders and thinkers and students and technologists together to talk about really this important moment that we have in AI and faith and innovation. It's a timely conversation. AI is not something that's far off in the distant future. It's something that's shaping society right now. And as Christians, we have a chance to step in and shape that conversation early and thoughtfully and biblically. And so this event is bringing us together to have a conversation about AI, ethics, humanity, and the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much here, right? Because AI is something I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to engage in it. I'm not going to use it. You have a lot of Christians who are skeptical of it. And then others, like Glue and yourself, who are realizing that there needs to be an engagement in it in an ethical and moral way. Why do you think there is such and not everybody's negative on it, many are positive, but why do you think there's such a retractive sort of negative reaction among some in the Christian community when it comes to AI?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's within the Christian community. I think we as humans, right? Every time a new technology has been introduced throughout history, we are both fascinated by it and we fear it. And we fear it sometimes because we don't really know what that means for our lives and our society and the future. It's unknown, right? But we're fascinated by it because we see the possibilities and the opportunities. And we're doing a lot of work at Glue, which has been a trusted technology platform for the faith ecosystem since 2013. We've been doing a lot of work with that's just advancing technology for good. We recognize that we as a Christian community don't want to kind of go down the path we did with social media, where we were a little bit timid about engaging with social media and shaping that future. And I would argue because we, the church, were not involved in that, that we are seeing some consequences down the road. Now that experiment has kind of run its course for a while, we can see how there's a lot of promise, but there's also a lot that could be improved in our experience with social media. And AI is even more powerful, right? It's shaping everything, every industry. It's infused into almost all of our daily lives at this point. And so we really see this as an imperative moment for the church to be engaged and not to be fearful of technology, but to shape the conversation.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I think one of the things, and I know this will be discussed, I'm sure, at the event. And again, the event we're talking about is AI for Humanity. It's happening October 7th at Colorado Christian University. And this is something that Glue and the Christian Post are putting on. It's an important event. But one of the things that I think people don't often think about, particularly in the Christian community, are the ways that AI can be used to spread the faith, right? We know there will be pitfalls like everything else, like you just mentioned social media, right? Not having engagement in that, having consequence as Christians. I think we were a little late to the game on some of that. What are some ways, and I know you're going to go deeper into this at the event, but that already AI is being used to push people towards Christianity?
Yeah, well, so it's interesting to think about how people use technology, and we use it for certain to be more efficient and productive, to help us generate ideas. But people are also using AI to have conversations, to ask questions about really fundamental things of who am I? What does it mean to be human? Who is God? What is my relationship with others, and there's these deep questions that maybe up until now, there hasn't been a really great way to use technology to get answers. But AI allows for that, right? And we're seeing investments in AI skyrocket. There's obviously a huge amount of interest in building technology, but I would argue a lot of the companies, although they're focused on safety and they're focused on efficiency, they might not be focused on the ethical issues that we are struggling with from a morality perspective of what does it mean to be human in the age of AI. And so this whole event is going to explore those fresh questions about what it means for humanity, what it means for human flourishing. How could AI actually help us flourish rather than undercut our flourishing? And so that's what we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think one of the big questions, can artificial intelligence ever possess moral responsibility, right? Or is morality exclusive to humans? And is it a spiritual sort of capacity? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to really struggle through a lot of these questions, because what does it mean to be human? If we said being human was about having intelligence, well, AI, by its definition, is intelligent, right? Is it about consciousness? Is it about soul? And so we have to really understand what our role is as humans in a world of AI, and do that in a way that helps humans flourish, right? There's a hunger for faith-shaped wisdom and a demand for depth that I don't think is being solved for yet. And we definitely can't slow down the pace of the development of technology. We can only speed up and deepen the conversation around it, and we have to be engaged in that.
And you can't ignore it. I mean, I think one of the challenges right now is there are people I know who are saying, I'm not going to learn it. It's part of everything already. I mean, you go to Google, it's part of your Google search. Everything we're doing is running on AI. And from a Christian perspective, one of the most interesting things is Bible translation. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because people have spent years translating into one language, and now it seems AI could really transform that.
Yeah, it really can, right? Because again, you can go, instead of, let me just back up and say, my kids who are in high school, middle school, and elementary school might look back at those of us born, a century ago and say, wow, did you really have to type into a browser and then visit all these websites just to kind of get an answer? Because when I use technology, it just gives me an answer. And that's the world they're growing up in. And so, of course, people are using AI for all sorts of things, including looking at Bible verses, Bible studies, trying to understand the Bible in depth. And that's awesome. We want people to use technology to do that. However, we want to ensure that the technology is serving up the Bible accurately. And this is an area of research that we're looking into is, how accurately do the various frontier models quote scripture, and with what accuracy are we okay with? Or to state it another way, are we okay if the Bible and the scripture is not quoted accurately? And I think the answer is we need to demand that the Bible is quoted 100% accurately. And that's just not happening right now. And especially in other languages that are not in English, right? And so when you get into Bible translation, that's a really big area that we care deeply about. And AI is about language. I mean, the technology is fundamentally about the human language. And so we want to make sure that the Bible, as an example, is accurately represented. And then the values of the Christian faith are accurately represented.
Absolutely. And these are all things that are going to be addressed at the event, which is amazing. One last big question for you before I let you go, because there's so much we could talk about here, but AI, one of the concerns is that it's very easy, and it's not a concern for those who need it, right? If you need, graphics or artwork or music, right? You can use these tools to get those things. But then there's sort of the theological concern of what does that mean for human creativity, right? As a gift from God, how do we ensure that we use AI for the things that we might need to make our life easier without eroding the creativity that God has given us?
Yeah, I was actually at an event earlier this week where we were talking about that very fundamental thing of what does it mean to be a creator made in the image of a creator in the world, in the time of AI, when you can use AI as a tool to create, and it does create. The example given that I thought was really, really interesting was if my son paints me a picture, that's awesome. And I would love it. And there's something special about that. Now, could we use technology to paint a better picture or a different picture or a faster picture? We could, but there's something just beautiful in the creation of the picture from my son who's learning to paint. And there's something human about that experience, right? And so just because we can use technology to paint the picture, should we? And when should we? And those are some of the just fundamental ethical, moral questions that we are going to explore.
Well, that is incredible, and I'm excited for this event. It's AI for Humanity, Navigating Ethics and Morality for a Flourishing Future. It is happening Tuesday, October 7th at Colorado Christian University. People can go to the Christian Post events page to get information on how to attend. Nick, appreciate your time and breaking it all down for us today. That's all for today's Inside Story. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode. We'll see you then.